is a 2-mile wait to get past the damn green line.
Anyone who gets hit by a bear in the neighborhood, call Joe Murray.
I happen to trust Joe Murray.
First time I ever met Joe Murray was...
All right, welcome to 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. It's Friday. It's beautiful outside. And we have basketball tonight here on the Sports Hub. Celtics-Heat, not what it used to be. But we'll have all the coverage right here on the Sports Hub. 6:30 tonight. And then I'll be with you guys post-game until 11 o'clock. What do you want to talk about? We do have the injury report for tonight's Celtics game. Kristaps Porzingis is out. He's out again tonight for this one. And, it's probably what's best. Also, Jaylen Brown out for tonight after the disappointing game the other night. So I'll just get those out of the way. Opening take brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Opening take brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. So, obviously, there's tons of NFL stuff. We're waiting on the Patriots to make some moves. They made a couple today, and we're waiting on the Cooper Kupp destination. If we get that in the next 25 minutes, I'll let you know what's going on. I did want to get into the Bruins, and there's some Red Sox stuff. But opening take, last night was the night I wondered if the Bruins traded the wrong goaltender. I know it's in hindsight, right? But watching Swayman get pulled after one period and giving up 4 goals while Ullmark made a game-deciding save was the difference in Ottawa's win last night over the Bruins. It put a bitter taste in my mouth, and it should yours too. Ullmark got the same deal, essentially, as Swayman. Now he's got Ottawa on the cusp of the playoffs, while Swayman looks like a fluke as the team looks to retool. Swayman went into business for himself this offseason. While we criticized Ullmark a year ago for wanting to stay here and not be traded at the deadline, you all remember that. Speaking of that, the Bruins could have kept both Swayman and Ullmark this year. They could have. And for the crowd that wants to say, well, Ullmark probably doesn't deserve the money either, well, he could have been on the team this year and they could have let him walk. They could have let him walk. They lost their identity when they moved on from Ullmark and Swayman together. So, yeah, I'll look back at it and say, like let's set up the scenario, right? They wanted to give Swayman the extension. He was really good in the playoffs. Most of the people, you and me, thought what was best for business was to re-sign Swayman and trade Ullmark. It looked great on paper. We all did. Let's just face it. We all thought that was the best move. I know there was a percentage of people who thought maybe Swayman's the guy to move on from because maybe you can capitalize on picks or assets, whatever. But the fact that they made the move so they didn't have to pick up $1 million basically option at the time to hit the cap, and they wanted a first-round pick with the draft coming up. They wouldn't have needed all that if Sweeney actually drafted well. So that's my whole point of where I'm falling on Sweeney on this one. They moved on from a guy that wanted to stay here. And yes, you would have probably had to re-sign him, which I know some people didn't want to do. But you still could have let him walk, and you still could have extended Jeremy Swayman. And that falls on Don Sweeney. The team wanted to get out of that roster bonus. They wanted the first-round pick. And after last night, it looks like the wrong decision. And at least for this year, that's proven. They picked the wrong guy. Sweeney had decisions to keep both goaltenders. He didn't. But at the beginning of this year, just think about it. We'll always go back to it when we think of this year for the Bruins. He had decisions to make on both goaltenders. He had extensions for Marchand and Montgomery. And in the end, they're left with Jeremy Swayman. That's almost unforgivable. The one that they kept was Jeremy Swayman. Allmark out, Marchand out, Montgomery out. And now long-term, it's Swayman. But this is what you all wanted. It's what I wanted too. We were wrong. By the way, the Bruins gave up 4 goals or more for the 24th time this year. Do you even want to know what their record is in those games? Do you even want to know? They have 1 win. 1. Whenever they give up 4 goals or more, 1 win on the season. They lost again last night. I'll say this about the Bruins overall, though. The new guys look good. Middlestat with a goal. He's got points in all 3 games since the deadline. Hustadinov, they call him Kuzi, had a hell of a goal. Both those guys bring speed, something that the Bruins didn't have. And I'm excited to watch them. I'm excited about their futures. With the loss last night, the Bruins now have a 5% chance at the number 1 pick in the draft. So I'll keep saying it. I think they're closer to the draft than they are to the playoffs. So I'll be that guy because I think I'm the only one. They'll take on Tampa this weekend. I expect revenge. Swayman needed to be better last night, especially in a big game against one of the teams the Bruins are literally chasing for a playoff spot. And, not to mention, going up against Linus Ullmark, who's 5-0-1 in his last 6, and he's been absolutely outstanding. Instead, Swayman looks like a guy that can't play more than 3 consecutive games. He looks like a platoon goalie. Maybe that's what he's always been. Leadoff take brought to you by ESPN Bet Sportsbook. I'll leave it there. Kevin Majore is staring at me. I'm sure he's got thoughts. We'll hit the break. I might ask him about some of these things. And the save last night by Allmark, absolutely outstanding. I got more on the Bees. I got Celtic stuff coming up in a bit. Some Red Sox as well. We're here till 6:30. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe.
Celtics and Miami Heat tonight. Not the same old rivalry there. I was talking bees. I worked the game last night, and after watching Swayman play, I thought he was soft. I thought the first goal he gave up was a pup cup. A very soft served pup cup. And now he's a goalie that when he plays 3 consecutive games, the guy can't play 3 games in a row while Allmark was out there 8 games in a row fighting for Ottawa. I said it earlier, but I feel like maybe maybe I didn't give Allmark the benefit of the doubt. I probably should have saw it as maybe he was a big reason for what they did, and he probably wanted to play more. And now that he is, he's just rising to the occasion. That save he had last night, oh, man. It was just the signature play of the game. Before the game, Nikita Zadorov said that was the biggest game of their season. And that's how Swayman came out. Dude never met the moment last night from literally the beginning of the puck drops. And you probably saw this already, but Swayman struggles when he gets 3 or more consecutive starts. He's now 3-8-3 with an .869 save percentage. So when Swayman is making his first or second start in a row, he's 17-14-3. Like you got paid all that money, but like your record stinks when you play consecutive games. This sucks. This is underwhelming. And watching Allmark do what he's doing, here's the deal. I want to just be consistent on this. I think they could have had both Allmark and Swayman this year with Swayman's new deal. And at the end of the year, you could have traded Allmark at the deadline. I don't know. Would Allmark, who's a rental, be worth more at the deadline this year with all the picks that were going around? I don't know. But you could have had them both. If there were aspirations about going deep into the playoffs this year, you could have kept both of them. Am I wrong on that, Kevin? I know you're a big Bruins guy, but am I wrong that they could have kept both of them this year? And then I'll ask you the same question. If they did trade Allmark at the deadline, could they have gotten more than they did in the offseason, even though he was a rental?
I'm not so sure they would have gotten more because they did get a first. They had to take Korpisalo. So they probably get away with not having to take a goalie back, but they also got Kastelik, so it was a prospect, a roster player, a goalie, and a pick. So I'm not so sure they get more. I think with the way the deals were made, they probably would have gotten a first-round pick. I don't think many goalies were traded at the deadline. They were earlier in the year trades.
Yep.
But I wouldn't have been against keeping both, especially at what the salary cap was. I mean, you probably don't end up, he hasn't been good. You probably don't end up getting Elias Lindholm or Zadorov, one of those two, if you keep Allmark, because you're saving, I think it was $2 million or $1 million.
How does that look now, though?
No.
And this is a complete hindsight radio discussion.
But, exactly. That probably looks better, depending on who you ended up with in terms of, let's say you didn't get Lindholm, who you ended up with center-wise, as opposed to Lindholm in keeping Allmark. Or, Zadorov, I feel like they were pretty dead set on getting Zadorov. They wanted to get big on the back end. So it's like you keep Allmark, you keep both of them, and then you have to let go of the top center that you wanted.
I would have done it.
Yeah, exactly. Hindsight, absolutely would have done it.
I would have done it. So again, that falls on Sweeney. I think Sweeney did everything right at the deadline. I do. I wonder if he did enough to save his job. I don't know. But I think he did everything he could to make the Bruins better for the future. So, and with ownership getting behind him, like maybe he's back for another year. It's just, now I'm going to watch Allmark in a playoff run doing what he's doing, and we're going to see Swayman, who can't play 3 consecutive games. This is going to be tough to swallow.
He'll be playing out at the World Championship somewhere in Europe in May.
Oh, great!
That was the difference.
Let's go to the phones. Matt's in New Hampshire. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Joe. How's it going?
What's up, buddy?
So, addressing the whole issue with Swayman, I certainly think that he is definitely underperformed for sure. I mean, I think the whole year he's been very inconsistent and just absolutely soft, like you said, and like letting these little goals up that, he shouldn't let up, or any goaltender should really let up. I mean, Omar's been playing absolutely incredibly. With that save that he made last night, I was absolutely blown away, and I think, honestly, we got rid of the wrong guy.
Yep, I know it's easy to say that now. That's why I'm saying it. Just watch it. Swayman tapped out in the first period. Tapped out. I can't play 3 games in a row. I want to be a number 1 goaltender, but playing 3 games in a row. This is what happens, Swayman, when you're the big dog. When you make that big money, and when they need you in a big game, and the other guy plays better than you, and it's the one they traded for. Ooh.
Can I ask you this, Joe?
Sure, go ahead.
The cap's going to go up a lot next year, and the Bruins have shown in the past that they are fine with the 2 goalies, obviously Swayman, Ullmark, but Rask. But Swayman obviously kind of wanted it. He seemed to be protective over certain things. How do you think he feels if they go out and get rid of Korpisalo and spend money on a guy that they know can do a 50-32 or a 48, however the math works, split? If they go to a Ullmark, Swayman, Rask type situation, how do you think Swayman feels about that?
Who cares? He's got his money. See, this is the point. I think that what they did, spending more for Swayman this year when they were at a hard point, I think this is what the Marchand contract came down to. They were like, hey, man, we're going to give you the money you're getting now, man. Like, well, you want more? And they said, all right, no. I think now they need to be more shrewd than ever. So who cares what Swayman thinks? Isn't that the story of you're like the biggest Bruins fan in the world. Isn't that the story is that the players in there were dictating like when they would play and what their contracts were and getting extensions? Like, that all needs to go. That all needs to go. That's why I think the Marchand thing is somewhat healthy for the team.
Yeah, I mean, it was keeping players from that core too long of 2011, and then ultimately, the Marchands, the Bergerons, and it was keeping it going too long. And it did feel like, I honestly think you go back to that year 2 years ago where they won, 63, whatever games they won. It felt like the players ran that room and the coach didn't. And I think they finally have maybe totally rid themselves of that and have tried to start anew. And we'll see what they do this summer with like a coach and establishing a new status in that room.
All right, we do have some NFL breaking news regarding Cooper Kupp that we should let everybody know about. We don't have to play the sounder if you don't want, unless you got it. You know what, Kevin? When do you play the sounder, bro? Let's do it.
This is breaking sports news.
Powered by Valvoline Instant Oil Change.
On 98.5, The Sports Hub.
According to Ian Rappaport, Cooper Kupp expected to sign with the Seattle Seahawks, likely to make $15 million a year. Returning home, Cooper Kupp expected to sign with the Seattle Seahawks. He went to school at Eastern Washington, grew up in Yakima, Washington, 2 hours away from where he played high school football. And do you know who his quarterback will be? Sam Darnold. I'm glad we got that before we left. When's the last time you played breaking news besides Tim McCones?
Me, I really haven't been in the seat for any breaking news recently. Probably early January.
You got to break the Cooper Kupp news.
The big. I think the last big breaking thing I did was we did it Patriots postgame.
Oh, that's right, when Mayo got fired. Well, see, Kevin, big things happen when we're out here together. You know what else we got big things happening? The Miami Heat and the Boston Celtics. I had a bunch of other stuff, but you know what? We'll do it post-game tonight. Thank you, Kevin, for your contributions. Cooper Kupp out, going to Seattle. Celtics are going to Miami. Be a fun night there. All right, we'll hand things over to Grandy and Max, and then we'll be here. I'll be here with you pregame, halftime, and postgame tonight until 11 o'clock. Thank you, Kevin Majore. I'm Joe Murray. Coming up next, we got Boston Celtics basketball here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studio, home of the Bruins, Patriots, Revs, and Celtics.
Come on, Max, step back. Three is good.
Boston's home for sports is 98.5 The Sports Hub, the Beasley Media Group station.
This is Star Market Celtics Tonight. Download the Star Market Deals and Delivery app today.
Jalen forces it up over C. No! He tied it! He did it! Jalen Brown from the corner with 5.6 to go. Kick out, open. Tatum steps to his left. Three in the air. Got it!
Big boys step up at the right time, man.
The Celtics are brought to you by BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks and presenting sponsor of the Celtics Radio Network. Please bet responsibly. Your New England Ford dealers, Cambridge Savings Bank, Comcast Business, Bosch Tools, and by Ticketmaster.
Pritchard shovel back to Porzingis. How about a trail three? Got it! Boston by 14. Kyrie forces one out, blocked by Porzingis again. Pritchard, half court. It's in the air. He got it! He did it again! Peyton Pritchard did it again!
Also brought to you by Clinton Savings Bank, your Eastern Region Lexus dealers, VA New England, Town Fair Tire, Kia North Danvers, Brex, FindMassMoney.gov, Corona, NetSuite by Oracle, your New England Honda dealers, and by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Confetti guns shooting green and white confetti and making the most beautiful blizzard you have ever seen. The Boston Celtics are world champions for the 18th time.
Now, here's Sean Granty and Cedric Maxwell.
On hallowed ground for the Celtics, we're at Kaseya Center in Miami, Florida, site of so many memorable moments of this Celtics generation. After 2 weeks at home, a quick weekend on the road, front end to the back-to-back. Celtics trying to make it 9 of their last 10 on the road against Bam Adebayo and the Miami Heat. Away we go, back out on the road. Thanks for finding us on a Friday night. I'm Sean Grandy. Cedric Maxwell will join us shortly, and when he does, coming up on the fastest 30 minutes in the NBA, Shaw's and Star Market Celtics tonight. We'll get you the latest on Kristaps Porzingis, who did travel with the team to Miami yesterday. A very crowded injury report. Give you an idea how the Celtics are going to manage these back-to-back games, playing tomorrow night, an early game in Brooklyn. Plus, is this season starting to look an awful lot like the last title defense season 16 years ago? We'll discuss that, then break down this third meeting with the Heat. Celtic wins in Boston early in the year, and here in Miami last month, the Jimmy Butler era, in which the Celtics played a starring role, is finally over. The Heat have gone predictably south since. What is the end game to get it going back north in South Beach? We'll discuss that. We'll take our trip around the NBA. The Lakers without LeBron continue to sputter. The Pistons turn out a clunker. And Steph making history yet again.
Curry, pump fake, fly by three ball on the way. Number 4,000 for Stephen Curry.
We'll check in with the head coach, Joe Mazzulla.
The games that are hard to accept is when you have a good process and a bad result. And we had a relatively good process against another really good team, and we had a bad result. And so we have to be better.
But coming up next, the end of the high-profile homestand, and maybe, just maybe, the end of the Celtics' cloak of NBA invincibility. We'll look back at that latest signature win in a magic season for the OKC Thunder. SG has it in the left hand, starts his drive, gets to the dotted line, turns, fades, and hits.
That boy is smooth as silk.
It's all coming up and more as we count you down to the Celtics and Heat in Miami, top of the hour on the BetMGM 98.5, the Sports Hub Celtics Radio Network.
Now's the time for a great deal on a new Honda. It's time to take an adventure with rugged capability and commanding style.